telling me the truth that OP didn't want to hear. My wife sat me down November last year and told me that she has started to have feelings for another man at work. They have gone to lunches, been for walks, exchanged gifts, have had hour-long phone calls while I was away for work, and have kissed on several occasions. The last time they kissed, it was to say goodbye because they knew it was wrong. The year lasted 3 to 4 months according to my wife. Since then, there have been many long conversations, sleepless nights, crying, blaming, bonding and no bonding, coldness, warmness, and just a general emotional roller coaster. My main problem, aside from not knowing if my marriage will survive this, is the fact that the two of them still work together. My wife has assured me that any talking that occurs between them is only for work purposes. The job is a deadline stress type of job that has its crazy and slow times. My wife has said that she wants to work on us and that any more conversations relating to the details of their affair is just slowing us back from getting our marriage on track. However, over the past 2-3 months of agonizing conversations, I have asked the following question and gotten the following answers. Do you miss him? Think about calling him. Answer: yes. Are your feelings for him strong enough to keep our marriage from getting back on track? Answer: yes. Do you love him? Answer: silence. I'll take your silence as a yes answer. More silence. Yet, my wife insists that she can work with him and still commit to herself to working on our marriage. I think that this is ridiculous. She has a good job and is afraid of losing it, and I don't want any financial difficulties to come our way either. But I can't help but think that she is still hanging on to that last bit of the affair in her mind. Oh yeah, I found out that she did reach out to him in an email about 6 weeks ago just to see how he is doing and let him know that she wants to be able to work together and put things behind them. The guy's girlfriend found the email and he told my wife that he cannot talk to her. I am humiliated and have no self-esteem because of all this. I had no idea. Anyway, what I am thinking about is this. My wife wants us to start going to marriage counseling, and I am really wanting to go as well. But I feel like I want her fully committed to the marriage, and that to me means no contact. I want her to quit her job as a sign of commitment to our marriage. No time limits, but I will not go to counseling until she is not working with him anymore. Is this a good idea? Am I going to push her towards him? I need to do something that gives me some sort of control over my life. I feel like she is having everything her way. Please give some advice before I confront her on this. I am not demanding that my wife quit her job today. What I have told her is that I will not go to counseling until she makes a full commitment to our marriage, which involves leaving her job. I put no timeline on it. She can look for another job so that there is no period of unemployment, etc. It is a good job, but between my job and our savings, my wife could be unemployed for 4 to 6 months without it hurting us. She works in IT and there are plenty of jobs available to her. I don't want a divorce, but realize that if some things don't change, it will be my only choice. I won't be a doormat, second choice, or any of those other things for the rest of my married life. I just want to give it every chance to heal that I can. We had something very special at one time. Heck, before this all happened, we were actually beginning the process of adopting our second child. Obviously, that is not happening now. It has just been a lot to deal with, but I am ready to handle it in a new way other than worrying, wringing my hands and begging. I don't want to file for divorce before we try counseling. My wife has agreed to quit her job and is currently planning on doing so in the next few weeks. I have also requested that she has a conversation with him and let him know that she is leaving to save her marriage and be with her husband. She feels that this is unnecessary and that when she leaves that will be sign enough. I told her that I don't want OM thinking that he can just try to restart the relationship when he starts to miss seeing her at work all the time. Unfortunately, my wife has told me that she is not prepared to have this talk with OM. I am not there yet, is what she said to me. Comments: your wife is most likely sleeping with this guy. If not, make no mistake that she will be sleeping with him soon. Quit the philosophy, quit the excuse making, quit the nice guy routine. Stand up for your damn self, find out the facts and act accordingly. If this is something you can get past, work on getting past it, starting with her getting rid of this guy right this second. If she's not down for that, get rid of her ass. If it's not something you can get past, stop the bleeding and make your exit from this marriage. Conversation: no, have her write a letter saying she is leaving the job to save your marriage. Also put in that he should not try to contact her in the future by phone, email, text, Facebook, Twitter, or smoke signals. Put all this into a letter that she writes, have her sign it, and you mail it to him. Tell her that if she attempts to contact him, then it's over. Tell her that if he attempts to contact her, odds are he will. She must not respond and she must tell you about it immediately. No damn face-to-face conversation where there is a tearful goodbye and one last kiss for the road. Are you kidding me? And it looks like OP never followed through with an update, and you know what that means. High chance his wife ran away. If your partner doesn't drop the affair partner right in front of you, it's over. Trust me on that one. Story 2. My wife and I have talking about divorce and legal separation, but I'm not sure that's really what I want. This is a long story, and I hope some of you will please endure it so I can get the best possible opinions. So, the story begins back in January 2009. I met my future at the time wife. She already had one failed marriage and a son from that marriage. We both were in the military and shared a few common friends. We fell madly in love. I could go on all day about how much we loved each other and couldn't be away from each other for a second. We got happily married 7 months later, July of 2009. My wife and I were still madly in love and things couldn't have been better. We got pregnant and had a baby boy on the way. Around September of 9, I started to get very depressed. I had a very bad experience while deployed in 2007, when my truck hit an IED and X2 of my guys, including my best friend, and removing a leg from my squad leader. I have had many problems over the years dealing with these issues, but it didn't bother me until late 2009. I got out of the Army December 2009 and have been the stay-at-home dad of our kids. Let us just say, things started going very bad in my marriage. My wife did everything she could to keep me happy, and nothing worked. I lost my desire and blamed her gaining baby weight as the problem for that. My wife, despite all of this, stuck it out with me and continued to try and make me happy. 2010 was the worst year. I had given up in my marriage and stopped trying. I quit giving her much attention and spent most of my time on the computer. Plain put, I was the worst husband ever. Our first only son together was born May 16, 2010, and things were good for about 6 weeks after that, but then went back to the old ways. Things started to get better in 2011, but we still had issues because of the year before. We talked divorce once during that time and I almost had to buy a plane ticket back to my home state. We worked things out, though I still wasn't much better than before. I was still depressed and not really trying working things out. This is where the story gets bad. My wife deployed to Afghanistan on June 20, 2011. The first 2 weeks she was gone, she was Skype calling me every day all day long. At the time I had just my son with me. My oldest was with his biological dads for the summertime. I told her that she was calling too much because I had a life here I needed to manage. This kind of ticked her off, but I felt it was necessary. Things were really good once she only called a few hours every other day. I was happy and so was she. At the end of the summer, I received our oldest son back from his dad's house. After that, I was really highly stressed all the time. I found it difficult to raise 2 kids by myself. Oldest was 4 years, and the other at the time 16 months old. I got super annoyed when she would call because I was so stressed all the time and tired. I told her that she annoyed me every time she called. We stopped talking almost altogether for the rest of the deployment. We still talked, but it was just to say hi and for her to chat with the boys. In September of that year, after I told her she annoyed me, she stopped wearing her wedding rings and changed all of her email and Facebook passwords because she was angry at me. I didn't find out until January because she posted on Facebook that she lost her wedding ring and hoped someone had found it. On January 7, 2012, she asked me over Facebook if I wanted a divorce. I told her yes, I did. I wasn't sure that I really did, but after being so far apart and not talking much, I didn't feel loved myself, let alone how she felt. When she got home, the moment I seen her get off the plane, I knew I made the biggest mistake of my life. All those feelings of love came back, and she still had feelings for me as well. So what's the issue here, you ask? She was very suspicious when she came home. She was angry at me for wanting to work things out now that she was home, but I didn't support her when she needed it the most. She kept a lock on her phone and computer, which never happened pre-deployment. This bothered me and she told me that it was none of my business what she was texting other people. The first weekend after she came home, she was going to the bar to get drunk with her unit. I was the babysitter for this night and wasn't allowed to go. I managed to catch her phone before it locked, and I installed an application on her phone to see if she was cheating on me. That first night was the first rude awakening that she was indeed cheating on me. She was telling this guy how she wishes she could disappear with him and how she would do him so hard and stuff like this. I was devastated, but being the honest man I was, I told her about it the next day. She told me that it was just dirty talk and there was nothing else to it. She also told me that she never had slept with anyone while being home or while deployed. A few weeks later, she comes to me and tells me that she missed her period, which was to start just days after coming home. At this point, we had slept together 3 times unprotected. This is my wife here. But I never had made a mistake like this before. I was 99% sure that the baby wasn't mine, but she swore that she never cheated on me. A week later, while at her mom's house, we got into a little fight about something, and she admitted so, sleeping with some black guy right before coming home. I was furious and called her a liar among a few other names and stormed out the house. We talked about it a couple hours later and she told me she felt bad for lying, and that she said I deserved to know because we were going to work things out again. She went and seen a doctor, this is about 2 weeks ago, to see how old the baby was. Come to find out, she conceived around the first week of February, 3 weeks before coming home. At this point, I decided to hack into her computer, which was mine anyways, and look at her Facebook messages from deployment. She never logs out, because the PC has a password I don't know. To make a long story short, she had slept with 2 different guys, and lied about who the real father was. The real father, who was married as well, wants to be in the baby's life and for the baby to have his last name. He is a staff sergeant in the army, so if I push the issue, I could get my wife and him kicked out of the army for adultery and fraternization. Physical relations between a non-commissioned officer, staff sergeant, and a junior enlisted member. I've thought about doing that to get back at my wife, but at the same time she is my son's mother. My wife is willing to work things out, but I'm not sure I can live with 3 kids, 2 of which are not mine, and having 2 other dads in our family. Plus, I'm scared she might even do it again. So, I guess the true question here is, can a soulmate mess up like this and love be strong enough for us to make it past this? Also, whenever I ask her what she wants, she always says she doesn't know. She has told me she loves the other guy more than I, but not in the same exact way as me. But they are also both married. I guess she keeps me around because she can't have him. I love my wife to death, and after some hard long thinking, I've come to realize that she was perfect for me. I really messed up by not trying in our marriage and will regret it for the rest of my life. She cheated on me because I really let her down these last few years and wasn't there for her. I'm not saying she didn't wrong me. Trust me, I think she made a bad mistake. But I can also see where she is coming from, being a woman. Her husband not there for her, especially during deployment. Do you guys think that there is still a chance for us? I really am willing to make her happy like I used to. I would do anything for her because I love her so much. I'm just not sure I can live through this situation and the fact that she is having someone else's baby. Her fighting argument is, she waited till after I asked for the divorce before she had slept with this guy. So I don't know if it's fair to ruin her career like that. His wife knew before I did actually. She wants to ex my wife. So, they haven't met yet because she is mad. She is currently 8 or 9 weeks pregnant. So nope, hasn't delivered. I definitely don't want this guy in my life. I would want to knock his lights out every waking second. The reason she didn't use a protection was what she said. We got caught up in the moment. She is going to get checked for STDs first, and if she has one, I will get checked. She admitted to having an emotional affair with both guys as well. The first guy was a rebound. The second guy, the baby's daddy. Well, she still loves him more than she loves me. She admits that. I had a chance to talk to her last night about the baby and its father last night. She said that he would rather get kicked out of the military than give the baby up. So, I can't use fraternization as leverage to keep him away, unfortunately. My wife says she's thought about giving the baby up to him, but she's not sure she can live with that decision. What do I do, and what should I be asking on this particular subject? Comments. Look, she's now told you that you are her number 2 choice. She would drop you in a minute if she could be with him. He, on the other hand, won't leave his wife. Here's what is going to happen. If you are foolish enough to let her stay, she will continue to see him, and she will continue to cheat with him. Oh, she will tell you that he and her are just visiting with the baby. But they will be also sleeping together. If you're lucky, they won't make any more babies for you to raise. Seriously, you are her number 2. She's having his kid. She won't dump him out of her life. It sounds like she told him about the kid before telling you. Don't you see how you are only useful to her, a baby raiser? No love, no respect, just useful. A useful cuckold idiot. You have such little respect for yourself as a man that you would accept being treated this way. What should you do? Open your eyes and accept the truth that your marriage is over and go file for divorce. OP responds, she wasn't going to tell me who the real father was because he was a senior NOC and could get in a lot of trouble if I reported them. She had me believing it was guy number 1's baby, not guy number 2. I already know the answer to this, unfortunately. She wouldn't go for it. She has been telling me for weeks that she isn't going to put much effort into the marriage until she sees me putting effort into it. She justifies that by saying she had put effort in for years while I did nothing. And now it's my turn to put the effort in first, working on what I'm going to say to her now. I usually have to write myself either flashcards or a script to read from when talking about these things because I always forget stuff. And sometimes draw a blank right from the start of the conversation. Story 3. The first thing I am going to say is to everybody that reads this. In case you don't already know, do not think that your spouse will never cheat on you. I thought the same thing, and now here I am. Background. I've been married to my wife for almost 2 years, together for 4. I am 26, she is 28. She is a psychologist who majored in marriage, family therapy. Go figure. I have worked in law enforcement my whole adult life. Needless to say, our marriage has had its ups and downs. We've both struggled with depression. However, I never thought things were as bad as they really were. From early Jan through the end of Feb, I was out of state. I was doing required training about 1,000 miles away. I was gone for almost 8 weeks. At the end of January, my wife began to voice concerns and confusion about our relationship. She told me that she wasn't sure if we should have gotten married. She's not attracted to me physically anymore. She doesn't want to wake up as a middle-aged woman full of regret that she's not in love with me anymore, etc. This was obviously very difficult to deal with. I couldn't come home, and we didn't have the $sign to send her out to me. I tried to get her to just hold off on any decisions until I was home and we could talk face to face. Well, that didn't work. On Feb. 19, 10 days until I would be home, she dropped the bomb. She told me that she had cheated on me 2 days prior. She told me that it was only one time, and that she immediately regretted it. Of course, I had tons of questions, but she was being very defensive and would not answer all of them. The next 10 days, I bounced back and forth between thinking I didn't even want to see her again, and possibly trying to. Those days were hell. Sleepless nights, no appetite, tons of confusion, feelings of zero self-worth, etc. After I got home, she started to tell me more. She trickles truth me up until about 5 days ago, when she said that she had told me. I realized that I wasn't handling it as I should. I guess that's part of the reason that I shared my story. My wife told me that before she cheated, my sister-in-law revealed to her that she has been cheating on my brother for years. My sister-in-law recently told my brother she wanted to separate. I feel like I should tell him. Before my wife told me about my sister-in-law, she made me promise to not say anything to anyone about what she was going to tell me. I still feel like I should though. We have been talking about it. Every day since I've been back, we've talked about it. She is more emotionally needy than ever, and says I'm not supporting her. In fact, she called me today, telling me how depressed she was. I really just didn't want to hear it. I want to say the obvious. Do you know what you've done to me? I am stuck between trying to be a great husband and worrying only about myself. I just don't know what to do. We are seeing a MC this Friday. I keep telling myself to just wait until then to process things further. I exposed the affair immediately. Her friends, family, my friends, family, etc. all know about it. While she initially lied about the day, it happened the night before she told me. Is this a good or a bad thing? It made me feel better knowing that she told me on her own. She says the OM is 34 and single. I have his phone hash and have considered calling him. I just don't know what to say. In about a week, I'll be able to verify via phone records whether or not she stopped texting, calling him. She told me that there were many inappropriate texts between them. I am torn as to whether or not I want to see them. I don't know how to retrieve deleted messages from her phone. She is no longer talking with sister-in-law. The way I summed it up was that she basically replaced me with my sister-in-law and some loser. It's just so much to grasp. When I said I just called him, I meant my brother. That convo went as well as it could. I'm not going to contact the OM while I would like to introduce him to a collapsible baton. He is not worth my time. Comments. In the long run I think you will be happier if you divorce. Only 2 years married and your wife went out with the intention of cheating. Now she has the taste for it. She may say she is sorry, but the phrase once a cheater, always a cheater comes from story after story where the betrayed spouse forgives and works on reconciliation, only to be blindsided again years down the road when much time and money is involved. Only 2 years married and she goes looking for it the first time you are away from home for a couple of months. This was not an emotional affair that developed over time. She went looking for a one-night stand and found one. Dump her and move on. Do not be fooled by any of her lies or acting at this point. You need to look hard at your wife because this was no random accident. Either she has been having ongoing affairs, or she deliberately went seeking a guy at the bar to date no sleep with. It is one or the other, because this isn't a story of a girl who got drunk and got pushed into a situation she couldn't control. She was very much in control here. Do you really think you would be able to trust her in the future? You may want to point you brother her for help dealing with your soon-to-be ex-sister-in-law. OP responds. My brother confronted his wife. She is denying it completely. He is asking me for proof, which I do not have. All I know is that my wife is being open with me, and that is why she told me everything, including my sister-in-law's cheating ways. I ducking hate my sister-in-law. I never thought my wife was capable of this. While she made her own choices, I have no doubt that my sister-in-law was a catalyst. I look at it like they're addicts. It's easier to use if your friends accept it and also use. Would you guys agree with that analogy? Well, my brother believes me even out proof. I don't know what he's going to do. They have kids that are 8 and 3. This whole situation is so screwed up. Yesterday I did not talk with my wife much. I saw her briefly at home, exchanged a few words. Then I went to my bud's house for a date with beer. Although what we did talk about really disturbed me and I don't really know how to react, so I'd like everyone's opinion. While talking about the physical affair on D-Day, I asked her how many times they had been together. She told me once. Well, yesterday I asked her again because it just didn't seem right. She replied with only one time. I asked her how many times she did it that night. She then told me 2. She said she told me once before because she thought I was asking how many times she went over there to have a good time. Am I crazy for thinking that this is a big deal? Or am I blowing the detail up? I am struggling with details so bad right now. I don't know how much I want to know. but I also know that I need to see the big picture. Any advice? Right now, I'm stuck. I bounce back and forth between starting D and waiting until Friday to see the MC. Maybe I'm putting too much hope into the MC. I've never been to one before, so I don't know what to expect. I told her after I told my brother. I said that this lying, cheating bullcrap ends with me. She was glad that I told him. Of course, my sister-in-law called her immediately, but she did not answer. I've also verified via our online phone records that she has not talked to my sister-in-law since I learned about my sister-in-law's involvement. She has also not talked to the OM since I've been back home. I have been seeing a therapist for a few months now. I see her again tomorrow. It's definitely helping. I had PTSD before from some crazy things I've been involved with at work. I can already feel it coming on from the affair. But what is a man to do? Get back up, that's what. I know it was her fault. I just couldn't believe all that was happening. I've known my sister-in-law for 10 years and up until recently referred to her as my sister, not sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law was talking to me throughout this whole thing, and it was all lies. I'm just still in shock that the woman I loved, my best friend, no longer exists. That woman is gone. I am now left with an immoral, deceiving, cheating, dangerous, lying, two-faced, easy, poor excuse of a woman. Update: NC is in effect with OM and my sister-in-law. WW has since been to doctor and is all clear. She has agreed to take a polygraph test. I have verified through phone, chat records that she did indeed end contact before I got home. Sister-in-law is in damage control mode and is being very defensive. Thought she'd spill the beans on my WW. Thankfully, I was fully aware of everything she told me. Spouse is showing true remorse. She's gotten rid of all tangible triggers. We did our first session of MC last week. It's going to be a rough road for sure. WW has happily agreed to any conditions I have. We even clarified our individual boundaries when it comes to interactions with opposite gender. They are very conservative. I'm reluctantly optimistic. Although her doing anything to please her man has been fun. She asks me every day if I'm going to leave her. Every day I say, not today. WW also had a nice reality check when I revealed to her that her AP is a felon. Info obtained through legal means, of course. I have plenty of friends who have offered their assistance in dealing with the OM. We stick together. I've decided to show the scum some mercy though. He is not worth my time, my career, or my freedom. I've learned that he is indeed single. So, since there was no OMW to contact, I wrote his parents a nice letter. I'm sure it stings to read that you've raised a piece of crap. The MC went okay last week. I was very angry the whole time and did not hide it. The MC is trying to help figure out what is going on with my wife to where this happened. So far, it's been concluded that my wife has never had a healthy relationship before ours. Well, when it was healthy, the way her father treated her growing up seems to be an issue. His love was conditional. He was overly strict and controlling, OCD, etc. In her last relationship before me, her ex cheated on her and had a baby with someone else. She knew about the cheating twice and took him back both times. It was only at his funeral, he died in a motorcycle accident, that my wife learned that she was the whole time. Screwed up, right? It sucks because now she is being the wife I always needed. Loving, great bonding, understanding, appreciates her husband, etc. I just don't know if I want it anymore. I don't even look at her the same anymore. I used to adore her. Now at times I'm repulsed. Yesterday, she bought me a card, some magazines, some candy, and wrote me a love poem. My reaction: her poem reminded me of the bull crap she wrote about the other man in her journal. She knows I'm confused, and I really am. She claims she will spend the rest of her life making this up to me, but I don't know if that's the life I want. Update on the other man: he is a felon, no driver's license, on probation, and the list goes on and on. She had no idea. Of course not. Is it normal to be in limbo this long? I just don't know if I can get past her betrayal. I don't know if I will ever want her like I used to. It stings to talk about my wife this way, but I look at her like she is a piece of crap. This whole affair lasted about 3 weeks, but it feels like the betrayal has been a lifetime. After I got home from training, I was in denial and in the process of reclaiming her. Now that I've reclaimed her, I don't know if I still want her. Sometimes I feel bad for not giving her a straight answer, but I would be lying to her and myself if I did give her one. I just don't know. She's simply not the woman I fell in love with. That woman is gone. I don't know if I want to rebuild things with the shell of a woman that is left. I am doing IC. I started about 4 months ago. It's been very beneficial to me. I still go every week. I messed up with some things at first. I was rug sweeping and placing too much blame on my sister-in-law, but that is done with. I was in shock, denial. I'm now angry, hurt. There hasn't been a day that has gone by that we haven't talked about this. Her acceptance of her actions and her apologies are promising, but I just don't really care. I cannot get over the fact that the woman I loved, my best friend and lover, ducking screwed me over and hung me out to dry for some piece of crap. I don't know if I'll ever get over that. Wife was doing IC. She was talking with her therapist the whole time. After they made out, Her therapist told her a kiss never hurt anyone. After she slept with him, her therapist told her not to tell me, and that she knew that if my wife saw him again, she would go through with it. After D-Day, her therapist told her that I would just get over it. To hell with that. That therapist is gone and WW is looking for a new one. Has an appointment next week. I've also informed my insurance about this rug-sweeping, marriage-hating witch. Keep in mind, I do not give my wife any slack for this. She knows that I don't give a damn what anyone else says to her. She knows right from wrong and should have come to me with her problems. When I left for training, I was looking forward to the time by myself. PTSD and some other issues, including finally accepting and dealing a dark past as a child, had left me antisocial and with low self-esteem. I made it my mission to work hard in my IC, figure out what was missing with the marriage, and find the man I was meant to be while I was gone. I made a lot of progress during those 8 weeks, and it is continuing. The more confident I become, the less I want to be with her. When I got home, I was in better shape than I had been in years. I lost about 15 pounds, gained some confidence, and got a huge "Don't Tread on Me" tattoo on my forearm the day after she cheated. She couldn't and still can't resist me. The funny thing is that I told her before I left that I was aware of my personal issues and that I was facing them head on. Why couldn't she just have waited? I guess it chalks up to the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Just talked with the wife over the phone. My best bud and his wife are having a baby today. I told my wife that it was kind of bittersweet because that is where I wanted to be before. She then said that she wished we did have a baby because then she wouldn't have been going out to bars all the time. I then said, well, the fact that you are married means you should not have been going to bars. She then got defensive and said, well, now I never want to have a baby with you. I said, okay, goodbye. I am thinking about telling her we need to separate tonight. I am still on an emotional roller coaster going from one extreme to the next. I do agree that I need to stop throwing this in her face. It's just hard to find a balance that says, I know you love me and are not a bad person, but what you did was horrible and humiliating. Last night she was a hot mess. I told her that I was feeling very negative about things and was considering filing for D. She was screaming, no. No, no, you're killing me. I can't live without you, and cried herself to sleep after about 3 hours. It hurts to see anyone in that much despair. I read her journal after she went to bed. It was very sad and desperate. She wrote things like, I don't know if I will ever find a man that loves me like OP. I hope to God he doesn't leave me, but I deserve it if he does. I was so stupid to give up so easily when he never gave up on me. I would do anything to take it back. I can't believe how bad I messed up my life and threw it away for nothing. She wrote this before I got home. I wish her commitment was this unwavering before the PA. She is showing true remorse and humility. My attacks and cruel comments are not helping. At this point I am not investing anything else in the M, but am willing to give it more time. We go to MC again in 2 days. In the meantime, I am going to work on dealing with my anger and resentment. I will be better for it either way. She hides her journal and doesn't know that I read it. But anyways, her desire for a push-pull relationship is unhealthy for sure. She has never had a healthy relationship where there wasn't a pursuer and an evader. She has been on both sides. I was the pursuer in our M. I know this. She knows this. We had a power struggle in our relationship that I lost. Let her win? Actually, this is half my fault. I grew up with an extremely controlling and invasive mother. The dynamics of my parents' relationship is truly screwed up. My mother has always had the control, and I witnessed her humiliate my dad countless times throughout my life. This is the only type of relationship I had known. I see how I fell into similar relationships. They were normal to me. Sadly, I didn't realize how screwed up things were until recently. I've set my relationship with my mom straight. I've confronted her about her control issues and have told her that our relationship will be minimal at best until she starts respecting others' boundaries, including my own. There has been a major power shift in my marriage since I've seen the light. I will never let the power, control dynamic of our relationship sway to unhealthy levels again. I won't accept it, and the WW knows that. She obviously didn't want or like having most of the power. Seriously, what woman wants a man that lets her have all the power? That is no excuse for cheating, but it was a factor. I was a beta with my marriage and I know it. Thankfully, I know that that is not who I am. I just allowed it to happen for too long. I have been so used to commanding respect every day that I just didn't feel like I should have to at home, and frankly didn't care to. Well, that situation sucked and is no longer my reality. It took a crappy wake-up call, but nonetheless knowledge is power. My wife did not respect me, but I'll be damned if I'll allow that to happen again. Now, I tell her what I want and she does it because she wants to please me. She knows that she can trust me, confide in me, and that I will protect her from anything, and that deserves respect. Hell, the last time I told her to please me, she said anything for my man, then proceeded to give me a good time. I've been doing weekly IC for a few months now. It helps, but I am a bit skeptical of psychotherapy right now. But I am still putting in effort for myself. We have already done 2 MC sessions. They are helping me to understand what went wrong, as well as help me process my feelings. My comment: how you guys like these 3 mini stories? I will try to get a second video up today very soon. Let me see if I can do it or not. I think third OP did alright, could have been better. But it's a start. Comment down below, and I will see you in the next Love TV.